This is how I format a Word bulletin using Microsoft Word. I have this document right here I call partial template. It's actually pretty much filled in. I'm going to open it up, and I'm using a Mac. The look of Microsoft Word is slightly different in Windows. Each one of these sections right here would have a little icon in the lower right corner, like for this paragraph, that has an arrow that points down that you would click on to pop up, for example, the paragraph formatting right here. So my document is 8.5 by 11. If I look at the layout right here, you can see it's an 8.5 by 11 US letter document, but the orientation is landscape. It's turned sideways. And then the document has a table in it. You can see the borders of the table right here, and it's a 3-column table with a wide left column, narrow center column, and a wide right column. And that is, and there's 2 pages right here, and it's set up that way so that when you print it out and you print duplex, that means on the front and back of a page, these will fit together nicely, and then the fold will go right here. You're going to fold it down the middle right there and have a 2-page bulletin, essentially, with a front cover, an inside front cover, an inside back cover, and then a back cover. So what we're looking at right here is the front cover and the back cover, and then what we're looking at right here is the inside front cover, so the left inside and the inside back cover, or the right inside. And this blank column right here, narrow column, is where you fold the page. And it's just 2 tables, a table on this page and a table on that page. They match each other exactly in size. When you get ready to export this as a PDF, you click inside the table anywhere and right click and select borders and shading and just turn off those borders. And then it looks great for exporting as a PDF. So I'm going to come back in here and turn it back on so that I can see my formatting. It helps me to see where everything is laid out. A couple other things on formatting. You'll notice I have a ruler displaying at the top right here. I always like to have the ruler turned on so I can see where my tab stops are, where the margins are, and everything else. And on this page right here, I have some dot leaders that makes it easier to see that opening hymn is hymn 38. Sometimes your eye doesn't follow across the page easily if you don't have dot leaders on there. And these are set up as tab stops. So if I was on Microsoft Windows, I would go to Home. This would be the paragraph formatting. There'd be a little arrow I'd click on right here to open up the paragraph formatting. On Mac OS, you come up here to Format, Paragraph, and then I'm going to look at the tabs here. I'm on the line right there so I can see the tab stops. And on this one, the tab stop, there's only one tab. It's set at 4.5 inches on the page, and it's a right aligned tab, and it has a dot leader. So 4.5 inches, it treats this column right here as a page, or this table column as a page. So if I count 4.5 inches, there's 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, and a half inch. There's where the tab stop is. And then I've added a dot leader to it right here. So if I go down here and create a new one, and hit tab, and when you're inside, normally you would hit the tab key to create a tab, but when you're inside a table, you have to do Alt Tab, and then some person. And you can see how that works. So I'm going to take that off. That was just to demonstrate how that works. This one is a little special right here because I don't have a dot leader. So on the hymns right here, if you're going to add hymns, or it's best to just go at the beginning of the line and then just cursor down a couple lines. Hold the Shift key down, that little keyboard shortcut for you. Whenever you're on some text right here, if you hold the Shift key down and move your arrows to the right or left or down, it will select that text. Be sure when you do it that you go down all the way down the line here. And this is the reason I do it that way, is because then I accidentally get the whole column. I just want to go down there a couple lines, copy that, and then we'll just put it right in here and paste it. And that way I keep that nice formatting right in there, and I can change it to something else if I want. Come all ye glorious and awesome saints of Zion. And hymn number 38,000. All right. The trickiest thing in all of this is formatting the birthdays. Hopefully you only have to do that just once a month. What I do is go to this first page right here and put myself between the two headings, somewhere evenly spaced between them, and set my cursor right there. You can see it blinking. And then I use a text editor. So I'll copy and paste that from the church's website, or however I get it. And I think the format will look like, I'll show you in a second right here. I use a code editor called VS Code or Visual Studio Code. And this is what it looks like right here. And I have added all these in that I have copied and pasted in what I think is the format you'll normally get it in. It's just everything here separated by spaces. And I want to get this neatly into 2 columns as a table inside here. So I've got 2 columns of, actually 4 columns, birth dates, names, actually 5 columns, a blank column, birth dates, and names over here. And I'll show you how that works. To get that to format the way I want here, first of all, I'm going to use a little trick of this code editor, and I'll show you where to get that. If you go search for VS Code or Visual Studio Code, you can just come here and download it for Mac OS and Windows. It's free. It's great. You don't need to do anything. It doesn't take up a lot of room. And you can do all kinds of fun stuff with it, which I'm going to show you here in a second. But you can also, if you're a coder, you can edit all kinds of different code, HTML, CSS, things like that. You could alternatively on Windows use Notepad++, which is really popular on Windows, and download that. And it has a similar capability to VS Code. So back here in VS Code, I am going to purposely go through and here and insert a tab in between the February and the name. So every one of these has a space between them. So I'm going to search for February and space and replace it with February and tab. And I can do that by going on Edit, Find, and the common shortcut for that on Windows is Control F. On Mac it's Command F. So Command F, I'm going to search for Feb space, and you can see right here it's highlighting the Feb and space, and I'm going to replace it right here with Feb and a tab. And a tab is signified with a backslash that leans to the left and a T, and that puts a tab character in there. So I'm going to replace all of those 28 instances of it by clicking on this one right here, and now all those are replaced with tabs. And the reason I did that is because now this column lines up really nicely. They're all sitting right on top of each other. Before, they were not all on top of each other. There's a little dog leg right there, and then they go down. But when I replace them all with tabs, then these line up nicely. And I noticed another thing here. I've got 2 spaces here between all the Februarys. I don't really like that, so I'm going to go in to the beginning here, put my cursor at the top so it gets all of them. Cursor starts at the top. I'm going to search for space Feb. You can see what's highlighted there, and I'm going to replace that with a single space in Feb, and then click on this again to replace all, and now I got rid of all those extra spaces. And you can see more clearly that these are all lined up on top of each other. Now I'm going to use a little trick that you can use in Notepad++ and VS Code right here, and that is in Notepad++ you use Alt or Alt-Shift when you click. So I'm going to click here and Alt, and that highlights just that column of text. And then I can That's selected, and I can do Control C or Command C on the Mac to copy it. So in Notepad++, it's Alt. Sorry, you have to click on it to start. And in VS Code, which I'm using here, it's Alt and Shift. So click there, Alt Shift, click, and get just that right there. And I'm going to copy it with Control C. And then I'm going to paste it into, I usually use Google Sheets, but you can do it in Excel, and I'll show you both ways. So I'm going to go to Google Sheets right here, create a new sheet. Nice thing about Google Sheets is it's free. And I'm going to paste this in. And you'll see a problem here. First of all, everything's coming in as a date. I don't want it as a date because now this formatting looks really weird. I want it as text. So with everything still highlighted, I'm going to come up here to More Formats and do just plain text. And ta-da, look at that. Everything looks nice. It's just plain text. And then I'm going to go back and click right there, Alt-Shift, select as I drag my mouse down here to get that column, Control-C or Command-C, and then paste that in here. And now I have two neat columns of text, which is exactly what I want. And I notice that there are 28 rows right here, so I'm going to cut this in half and start at row 15. And the way to easily select in here is do your upper left corner to your lower right corner, or reverse, right corner to lower left corner. So if I do upper right corner, hold my Shift key down and click on my lower left corner, it selects all that nicely. Conversely, I can make this my upper right corner and go down to my lower left corner holding the Shift key down and clicking, and that's all selected. So I'm going to cut that with Control X or Command X on the Mac. Get rid of that. And instead of putting it right next to it, I'm going to move it one more column so there's a blank column in between them. Paste that right there. And now I have my columns of text. And I'm going to do that same trick. Click up here and then Shift and click in my lower right corner. Control C. And go to my Word document. And I'm going to just paste it right in there. And the great thing about Word is it recognizes that since you were using a spreadsheet, that you want that to be a neat column, so it brings it in as a table. So now you have a table inside a table. I'm going to show you how to do the same thing in Excel. So first of all, I'm going to open up Excel. And do a blank workbook. And we'll go back and paste those things in just like I did before. So click Alt-Shift one more time. Make sure I'm clicking. There we go. Oh, I want to get rid of that. Get rid of my search. So I am Alt-Shift and selecting that, and then Control-C or Command-C, pasting that in there. And same thing, it's treating it as dates. In Excel, it's a two-step process to get rid of the dates. So I'm going to go up to Formats right here and click on the drop down and select Text. So that's great. The problem is that all these now turn to the number representation of what was their text. So I'm going to select them all again and repaste my text in there, because now it'll bring it in as just text, and you can see it's all showed up nicely. And then same thing with the text over here. Click at the top, Alt-Shift, go down to where I want it to go, copy, and paste it in here. And there's my neat columns. And then I'm going to go down here and start at 15 because there's 28 rows. And same thing, click, Shift click down here, Control X, To get rid of that, don't paste it in the next column, but go one more column over, and there I have my neat columns of data. And let's do that again. Shift click, Control C, and go in here and paste it right where my cursor is right there. And when you paste it from Excel, it comes in like this. It is actually a table, so what you're going to have to do is click somewhere inside this table. You can see now it's a table inside a table, and it doesn't show the borders. So click on Borders and Shading after you right click. Let's do that one more time. So I was clicked up here. That's showing the outer table. Now I'm going to click inside this one so I know I'm in the inner table. Right click, Borders and Shading, and then click on All. Then I can see where everything is. And some of it's gone all the way off there. So I'm going to just drag this over to get the format nice. Drag this over. I didn't like that. It's really hard to get that grab handle right there. Boy, those grab handles are really hard to find. Drag that over. Not sure why that one is showing up funny. Drag that over. All right. Well, I guess the lesson here is let's undo all that. I think what's happening is in Excel it is keeping the width right here. So I'm going to just double click right there. So I'm hovering over the top header right there where I see the double arrow show up, and it's going to shrink down the size of that column. And I'm going to do the same thing with this column. I'm going to drag this one down arbitrarily so I just have a small blank space. Oh, I see. I accidentally put that in the wrong place. I put 6 columns instead of 5 columns. So we'll copy, cut, and paste that there. Drag that, double click that. All right, and then click there, shift lower click the lower right corner, copy it, come in here and paste it. There we go. That's much better. So I'm going to click in here so I'm in my inside table. And I don't really have to. I mean, I can just hunt around here until I can find that. You can see right there. It's nice to display those borders so you can see what's going on, but you don't necessarily have to. You just have to know that these are actual columns. And if you move to the right spot in between them, you'll see that double arrow showing up that shows that that's the column handle to drag the width of the column. I like that. And then right here, I've got it's a little bit hard to see. Let's go ahead and turn it on. So I'm going to click in here, right click, border shading, all. There we go. It's easier to see. And everything looks actually pretty good right here. But if I need to resize them, just click on each one of these to resize them. And I can make that a little bit bigger to give myself some room if I want. Push those over a little bit. Push these over a little bit. Make sure they look about the same width there between them. And then turn that off by right-clicking again inside the inner table. Borders and shading. None. That's done. And then when I'm getting ready to print this, I right-click, not inside this one right here, but the outer table, and turn off the borders there. So none. And same with the next page. Go down here, click inside the table, borders and shading, none. Okay. And then I can just export this whole document by doing File, Save As, and I'm going to click on File Format as PDF. And I want to put it to my Downloads folder in this case. And I have one there already, I think. Maybe I don't. All right, and here's the PDF that I saved to my download called Parcel Template. When I open it up in a PDF viewer, you can see that it looks really nice. the way we wanted it to look without the borders, and the birthdays are formatted really nicely.